and welcome back to Uncensored. I'm Marien, your host from Yachts Mermaids. And for today's episode, we have the amazing Chelsea Haines on the other side of this screen. And she is a former Chief Stew yoga teacher on board Yachts. And now she's a health coach transforming people's lives from the inside out. Chelsea, welcome. And thank you for sharing this time with us.
Yes, Marien, I'm so honored to be here. Thank you so much for having me. We've been trying to coordinate for a little while. I'm so glad that this downtime has provided an opportunity for us to be able to finally connect. I'm really looking forward to our conversation.
Awesome. So guys, as it is a very intuitive show, and what came up for Chelsea today and myself was an image of a tree, a deck, and like crew just going crazy, like in circles. And then for Chelsea, the word transformation and choose again was very clear and loud. So when you hear me talk about this image and words, what comes up for you, Chelsea?
It's funny because right before we started recording, I pulled intuitively an oracle card, and it was this oracle card, which is the Earth Guardian. And basically what this message is saying is to make sure that you are coming from a grounded place, right? So of course, grounded means feeling aligned and centered within yourself before making any rash decisions. So I think it's really appropriate that not only did this message come through for us, but also the vision for you of seeing crew scattered at this time. And I do think right now, of course, at the time of recording this, it is April 10th. We are amidst the coronavirus COVID-19 lockdown. It's a very interesting time for a lot of people. And many people are going through many different emotions and maybe not feeling grounded where they're at. And maybe they're stuck in certain places. Maybe they are either stuck on board or stuck at home and can't get back to their normal routine. So I think the feeling of not being grounded right now is quite prevalent and rampant for people all over the world.
So when you talk about grounding and the way that you said that basically not being aligned and center with ourselves, and I totally agree with that. And I just wonder, because usually at least for me, the first thing I think of grounding is going to the earth, plant your feet, root yourself, right? And most of us are in a position where we cannot leave the boat or our house, like you said. And like myself, I'm stuck in an apartment where I don't have anything. I don't have a little patio that I can go or anything like that. And I just wonder, how can crew actually become center and align in the midst of all this so they can actually hone and focus and get clear and really move that energy in a productive way?
Yeah, I love this. I love this so much because I'll give you a little background as well on my story to make it relevant as well. So I joined yachting in 2015. I was teaching yoga full time in Charleston, South Carolina. I had just gone through a divorce. It was similar feelings to what I'm feeling now in the sense of life being ripped out from underneath us, right? And not really knowing what the outcome is going to be or what's going to happen. I really started practicing at the time when I was teaching yoga, grounding into myself, and really just what that meant was becoming aware of my emotions at all times. Right. So without attachment or judgment to them. So the beauty about this was that I had the practice of doing that in the yoga studio and in this really comfortable community that I had felt very safe and nurtured in, and then joined a yacht, which I had sold all my belongings. I had to find a new home for my kitty, which was so hard, and substituted all of my classes that I was teaching at work, and literally hopped in a rental car and drove to South Florida after 11 years and a whole life of living in Charleston, South Carolina. So here I was now thrown into the yacht world, which if you are watching this, you are most likely familiar with it, at least are curious about it. And those practices, what I realized had to shift and had to change. Because the definition I had of them, just what you said, I can't go outside now. We're underway. We're in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean, or we're on charter and my emotions are all over the place. How can I take my lessons that I've learned and ground into myself here in this circumstance? So I think number one, and this is actually perfect because this is where the process of transformation that came through for me is relevant. So there's really a 5-step transformational process that I work on with my clients, laser coaching within each session, but then of course, over the span of the time that we work together as well. It's like the overarch that we also use the mini arches in. So this is a logistical thing that anyone listening to this can implement into their lives right now. And the first thing to do, the first step to grounding yourself is number one, step back, right? So in any situation, if you are feeling frazzled, if you're feeling hyper emotional, if you're feeling triggered, if you're feeling just like your vision before we started, Marien, of that kind of being all over the place feeling and running in circles, which we do often on charter, is to take a step back, right? So what that looked like for me on board logistically was, radio girls, I'm going to run to the bathroom for 2 minutes. I'll be right back. I'll see you in the pantry inside. Let me know if you need anything in the meantime, but just give me 5 minutes. Typically, that's a pretty okay thing to do. And it would literally just give me a moment to take a step back, to reset myself. And what I like to say, sit in the seat of the observer. So oftentimes when we are so wound up and wrapped up in our emotions, it's very hard to detach from them, right? Because they're very real. And emotions have vibrations, right? So if our emotions that we're feeling are vibrating a little bit lower than we desire to, it can be very easy to spiral down. And of course, we all know that our energy affects the world around us. That's why people say you could cut the tension with a knife. You can actually feel the palpable energy, especially when living on a yacht. It's close quarters. You walk into crew mess, and if someone is in a bad mood, you can feel it right away. So step one is really to take a step back and to start observing and lovingly and with curiosity rather than judgment, feel, okay, how am I feeling right now? Well, I'm feeling really stressed. I'm feeling really angry. I'm feeling really annoyed. I'm feeling really triggered. Okay, fair enough. Now we've put a mouth to it. And there's something that you said too, Marien, there's validity to the actual grounding down in nature, because nature has negative ions. The salt air carries negative ions. Salt water carries negative ions. The earth carries negative ions. And it feels counterintuitive because negative ions are actually really positive for us. They're really good and beneficial for us to breathe in and to feel. That's why, especially for people who are connected with nature, you can feel that feeling. You dive in the ocean and you're like, oh, I just feel better. It's a scientific thing. So a couple logistical things that you can do to ground when you are on. If you realized, number one, all right, I'm spiraling out of control, I'll move us systematically to get down. That was context to step 4, which is to take empowered action. So step 1 is to step back, become aware, lovingly aware, right? So I think often we fall into this habit of judgment, right? Judgment of ourselves, judgment of others. We start to blame, we start to react. And it's really important to remember that we have power in the pause. So my personal process, whenever I felt out of body and out of control and super reactive on board, and I thought, I want to feel more aligned, I want to feel more grounded, I desire to feel a little bit more whoosh within myself, I'm going to literally just take 3 deep breaths and come back to a curious place within myself and say, okay, what's the next logistical, feasible emotion that I can reach towards? I'm going to choose again. So it's that 3-step process that we were talking about earlier in conjunction with the 5-step process. So before we get to that too, I'm a little all over the place. I'm trying to walk us through it systematically. Once we've taken a step back and we realize it, there's power in that pause from stimulus and reaction. I've been stimulated. I feel super triggered. I'm aware of it now. Now I have the power again. So the second step in the 5-step process is to let go. So give myself permission to let go of the charged emotion, to let go of the limiting belief, to let go of the story that's running in my mind. She did this and he said that and this happened. power in the pause, take a deep breath, witness, step back, and then let go. So then the third one is to say yes to self. So what this means is, okay, I see myself reacting in a way that doesn't feel good in my body. I'm going to now upgrade the software that I'm operating from and say yes to self. So I'm going to choose again. I'm going to choose the next best thing that I would like to feel. So whether that mean I'm going to implement a new mindset. And this is obviously where it can be helpful to work with a coach through this. But if you're in the moment, it's as simple as take a step back, let go, choose again. And then step number 4, take empowered action.
Can I just quickly stop you there? So for the viewers that are here today, because definitely stepping back is a conscious choice that you have to take when you're feeling out of control. You have to become aware of it, and and this is why I think setting intentions at the beginning of the day is so important, because that's what's going to really help you become aware of those moments and be able to step back. Because a lot of people don't actually step back because they have never really set the intention to become aware throughout their day and of how they're feeling. So it's almost like they don't have any awareness of it. They're just going through the emotions and they're not in control, right? The emotions are the ones controlling them. So really setting the intention at the beginning of the day, I think, is what's going to help you become aware throughout your day so you can actually choose consciously to step back, right? And that's, like you said, taking a deep breath in, going to the bathroom, just be present, right? And then you talked about letting go. And the first thought when you said that is that a lot of people will be asking, okay, but Chelsea, how the fuck do I let go? Because we are in the moment, we're attached, like you said, to these emotions. And then the victim mentality comes in a spiral in the monkey mind. Oh, she did this, he did this. Like all these victimized stories, because we're the victim, lies happen to us. We have no control over it. And then is it enough to say, I let go? Or what's a concrete step that people can actually take? Because for me, in my personal life, to let go of a story sometimes is as easy as saying, I forgive myself for having that thought, or literally having to move my body, shake my body so I can get out of my head. Because I'm a person that's very analytical, very logistic. So I'm constantly in my head. And what I found is that I literally need to shake like a little bird, like an animal in nature. When they have a crash, the first thing they do is they shake it off. Exactly. Yeah. So I wonder if how can they let go in an instant, right? Because we need instant, immediate, quick solutions here, right? Just to get it through.
Definitely. That forgiveness is key. And you're exactly right, Marien. These processes do happen instantly, and they can't happen without conscious choice and awareness. So it all starts with awareness. And I love what you said about starting the day with an intention, because that will help bring it to the forefront of your mind. Therefore, every action, every conversation, everything that you do will be backed up by that intention. So even if that intention for the day is, I want to be a nice person today. I want to be grounded today. I used to do that as well on Charter. My intention, I'd wake up and I would say, I want to be the person that just helps to give relief today. I don't want to add to the chaos today, right? And I would find that anytime I would start to spiral and start to add to the chaos, that's when I would say, okay, step back. And you're right. Letting go is about forgiving yourself, right?
And I want to say, because exactly what you just said, I don't know if people understand the power of intention. Yes. Like seriously, just give it a try. Give it 1 week, every day, use it and see how it works. Because when you actually use it, and it could be like you said, simple as I want to be of service today to not add to the chaos. Something so simple. That is what's going to actually help you differentiate when you are not in your intention and when you are in your intention. And this is not something you're literally looking for. This is something that the energy, because everything's energy, and your intention is that energetically force. And like you said, everything you can feel everything, right? So you'll be able to feel the difference when you're in intention and out of alignment. Yeah. Like I love how you put that together because it's so important that people understand this is not good stuff. Like this is fucking real. So give it a try and then have an opinion about it.
Exactly. And listen, at the end of the day, like we could go about our lives totally blind, totally ignorant, and we could then maybe on our deathbed look back and probably have a lot of regrets. And this conversation is not for that person. This conversation is not meant to say you have to do anything that you don't desire. This conversation is for the person that says, yeah, I desire to be high vibe. I desire to be a good leader. And by good, a wholesome leader that's mindful of my crew, that's mindful of the energy that's going on. Or even in my own way, I desire to show up as my best self because I don't know about you, but I prefer to look back on certain circumstances in life and reflect and say, man, was I proud of that or was I not proud of that? It's a little bit different than feeling regretful because you can't regret life. You just can't. Things happen, right? And you make decisions in a moment. But if you realize that, oh, maybe I'm not super proud of how I handled that situation, I desire to handle it differently in the future, then this conversation and these tactical steps are for you. But it has to start from awareness, right? So setting that intention from the beginning, like you said, it's how we connect the subconscious brain and our logical brain, right? Our subconscious mind will always operate on habit, always, because our subconscious mind doesn't know logic. The lizard brain, that primal brain, the one that does need to just shake it off, right? When we did have a moment, because that is a real thing. Like you said, you see an animal survive an attack and they freeze. And then they and then bounce along their way and they're fine, right? So that is one logical step. But to back that up, I digressed a little bit and I lost my train of thought. Fight or flight or freeze. We want to more so operate from rest and digest, right? That is the whole intention, is to come out of this state of, got it, subconscious fight or flight response, right? Because the subconscious brain is always going to say, survive and procreate. That is it. Those are the two things that the subconscious mind want us to do, is to procreate and to survive. So along the way in our lives, in our years, this is psychology 101. We have grown up in structure. We've grown up in systems. We've grown up with beliefs that our family, our teachers, our society has imprinted on us. And based on those structures, our subconscious mind has created habits that has been reinforced to say, this is how I survive. So I'll give you an example. I grew up in an environment where my parents argued a lot. And the way that I coped with that, the way that my subconscious brain survived that, was to go into anger and fight or flight. And my reaction to them arguing was to go into survival mode and be very reactive and to be very angry. So that now, as an adult, if I am triggered in some kind of way that reminds me subconsciously of my parents arguing, my subconscious brain will say, oh, I know what to do with this. Be angry. So you're not even realizing that though the situation might not warrant anger, the systems and beliefs that your subconscious mind has implemented, now the habit to be angry, it's not even your fault. You have no control over it until you are aware of it. So this is the power in the pause, the power in self-awareness, and then the power in forgiveness and choosing again. And I share that because that's a personal story, right? I grew up in an environment where anger was my first emotion. And I really had to do a lot of work around, I forgive myself. And thank God I have a very forgiving partner, right? Because I'm not even mad at you, but I'm really angry right now and I don't know what to do with it. the anger or the subconscious survival technique, right? So to shift and to change that, you have to first, with curiosity and not judgment, become aware of it. It's in that moment saying, I'm triggered as fuck. I'm really angry and I don't know what to do with it. I'm going to step back. I'm going to go put myself in the bedroom and close the door for 5 minutes, because that's where my power lies, in that pause. Now, what am I going to do? I'm going to forgive myself. Take an actual deep breath, shake it off, shake my body, right? Forgive myself, let it go. Feel like the redness from my face start to calm down, and then choose again. Say yes to myself. Say, yes, I can do this. I can choose to go out and maybe choose to forgive the other person if they did something actually wrong, or maybe apologize. So that's the step 4, is take empowered action, right? So empowered action is all about implementing this saying yes to myself. So what that means is I'm saying yes to myself because I just forgave myself for that angry reaction. I desire to not have an angry reaction. I'm going to choose again the next emotion that feels better, which might be, I have to look at the emotions chart, something only 25 or 50 points up, which might be apathy, or it might be forgiveness. I can't quite remember. I have to look at the chart. But that's reachable. Maybe I can't reach all the way to gratitude yet. I'm not there yet because that's too high on the energetic scale. I'm not in a place where I can say, I'm really mad at you, but I'm grateful for you. Or even if I say that, maybe it's like that fake it till I make it kind of thing. Because I know deep down in my heart, I'm a good person. And I know that gratitude is there. But my subconscious mind is trying to tell me like, but you're a victim and you need to be angry right now, because that's how we survive times like this. So then the next empowered action would be, what is that? So that might be, I want to ground myself. So that might be, tonight, I'm going to do a foot bath in the bathroom. I'm going to pour some Epsom salts in the bottom of my shower and let the water fill up a little bit. That might be, that's actual like negative ion breath. That might be, I'm just going to go outside and take 3 deep breaths of the salt air. That might be, you know what? I've calmed down. I'm going to go apologize for my part. I'm going to take accountability because I've already forgiven myself, and I'm going to take action on apologizing to the other person that might have been involved in the situation, because I'm not a victim. I am accountable for my actions here, of course, whatever they may be, right? And then step 5 is to ask for help, right? So whether that be you have a coach, you have a mentor, you have a friend. Maybe this process is, I'm asking for help right now. Can I tell you how it went? Having that accountability and support is really how, once this becomes a second nature kind of thing, sure, you can coach your way through it. But while we're learning the process, the 3-step process via Gabby Bernstein of choosing again, or even a little bit of a deeper layer, we're really working on self-development and self-transformation. Having that accountability and having that help is, you have to have it.
Totally. Yeah, no, I agree. And I think like the more times are definitely changing, and we are literally shape-shifting the new earth that we will be living in after this whole thing that we're in. It's transform itself, because change is very different than transformation. Change doesn't, there's no death in change. Yes, there is definitely death in transformation, because when you want to transform something needs to die in order to regrow. And I feel that is what's happening right now at an individual and collective level around the globe. And really having tools like what you just shared with us, the 5-step method, transformational method, it really helps you to start being conscious of what you're actually birthing into the next realm, in a sense of what's going to come next. Because every decision that you make today, that's going to be the future, in a sense. So don't wait until the lockdown to make changes, to choose differently. You have to do it now. That's all you have. You have the present. And so thank you so much for sharing with us. I think they're very easy tools to digest. And yeah, maybe you're watching this and this is not for you, and that's totally okay. But if it is, give it a go, because it's definitely going to change your life for the better. And it's going to really be that support that we need. And Chelsea said, if you need that extra support, do not wait to ask for help. Ask for help now. It could be for a friend. It could be a crew member. It could be one of the Yachts Mermaid support directory members, like Chelsea's part of it. Marie's part of it. Like there's over 15 people in the directory that are actually available to you right now. Not people that say are available and then you try to email them and they're non-existent. These people are actually doing the work, helping you, supporting you. And the best of it all is that they are either yachties or have been in your shoes. So they can resonate and you can really feel supported from the inside out because they know exactly where you're at the moment. And I think that's very important as yachties, that when we ask for support, that we go for people that actually understand our lifestyle, because it's very different. And sometimes, some support, they just don't really get it. And that's when there's a bit of, like an energy exchange.
Explain it as opposed to getting to the gritty. You have to explain all the things.
Exactly. Yeah. And who has time for me?
Absolutely. And I'll add to that too, Marien, just two quick things that you said. You said something that really hit home, and change and transformation. You're exactly right. And you said depth, but I'll also add depth as well. So we transform with tiny, manageable, small changes. And there's depth in transformation, right? And you're exactly right. I can't buy a new couch before I let go of the old one, because there's no room. And that's where the letting go process has to happen. If I want my new shiny operating system, if I want to upgrade the software that I am operating from, gotta let go of the old. I gotta get rid of the old nasty couch with holes in it, right? I gotta throw away the old software that's not working anymore on my phone, right? And I love what you said too. And thank you so much for sharing that. This morning, I woke up to 2 Instagram direct messages from 2 yachties that are in need of help right now. And we are getting on the phone right when we hang up from this recording back to back. So you're exactly right. I mean, I am here for you. I know Green Crew Coach is an amazing resource as well. All of the Yachts Mermaids that you've put together are seriously an amazing resource for anyone who is struggling, because I feel like when I got into the industry only in 2015, which wasn't that long ago, 5 years ago, I wish there had been resources like this, because I struggled for a long time and I had the tools. I was a full-time yoga teacher, so I had the tools for stress relief and coping and health and wellness and being self-aware. And I think if I had the support, it would have helped me get through a lot of challenging times on board.
Yes. No, totally. And if you're a head of department, please go to the Yachts Mermaid support directory, download your to-go crew support list, put it on the crew board, have it on your files when somebody's not feeling okay. And you can tell, because as you already know, you can tell the energy. And when people come to you, because first you have to make it okay for them to feel safe to come to you and say, I don't feel good. Absolutely. And when they come, because you may not have the tools to help them through this, please, you do have the resources to send them to the right person for them. It is your responsibility as a head of department to be able to support them in the best way you can. And that could be just having this file on the crew board and just passing on the information. Once again, thank you, Chelsea, for joining us. And I hope that everybody gets whatever they need, and what you don't need, leave it behind. It's all good. Thank you. I'm Marien from Yachts Mermaids for Uncensored Yachting International Radio Show. See you guys later.